Hello, everyone. Welcome to the session on unlocking the power of poetry. I am excited to have all of you here today as we delve into the transformative nature of poetry and explore how it can enrich our teaching experience. Before we begin, let's take a moment to understand what is poetry. Poetry is a form of literary expression characterized by the use of language that is carefully chosen, structured, and arranged to evoke emotions, convey imagery, and communicate complex ideas. It is a unique art form that often employs rhythm, rhyme, and various literary devices such as metaphors, similes, symbolisms to create a heightened and concentrated language experience. Poetry is not limited to a specific style or format, and it can take many different forms, including sonnets, haikus, ballads, free verse, and many more. It allows for creative exploration and experimentation with language, enabling poets to express their thoughts, feelings, ideas, experiences in a condensed and an expressive manner. In simple words, poetry is a powerful means of communication and self expression. It can inspire, challenge, provoke emotions, thoughts, and evoke empathy. Through its use of language, imagery, and rhythm, poetry has the capacity to move and transform both the poet and the reader, making it a unique and cherished art form. Before we start, let me introduce myself. I am Teena Murti with a master's degree in physics and currently pursuing master's degree in education. I'm working right now as a math coordinator and grade 5 homeroom teacher. I know it's a little weird combination to do a poetry workshop here, a session on poetry. I believe that education should be a journey of exploration where students are active participants in their own learning. My teaching philosophy centers around fostering an inquiry based approach that empowers students' curiosity, critical thinking, and problem solving skills. My goal as an educator is to foster a love for lifelong learning in my students and in myself. Through an inquiry based approach, I aim to inspire my students to be active, engaged learners who are unafraid to ask questions, challenge assumptions, and make learning contributions meaningful to themselves, to their society, and to the world around them. I've been teaching into different curriculums, IB, CBSE, CGC, IGCSE, and would like to explore more. Today, in this engaging session, we will explore different reading habits, analyzing text at three different levels. We will also learn techniques to empower our students with the ability to express their thoughts, emotions, and experience through the gift of poetry. We will discover practical strategies to incorporate poetry into different subjects, be it math, history, science, any other subject, to enhance their engagement and to deepen their comprehension. By the end, my aim for all of you is to embrace poetry not as a discrete unit, but to consider it as an integral part of your daily teaching practice. Without further ado, let's dive into the world of poetry. But before we proceed, I would like to set the tone with a beautiful poem that you can see on your screen right now. It captures the essence of what we aim to achieve today. Please enjoy this short reading, and I would like to you to take a minute to read it. I hope you might have read it by now. I have to rush out as well. So, during your initial reading, did you perceive the author attempting to convey a message about a child feeling discouraged by society's stereotypical thinking regarding his or her choice of becoming a baker? Did it evoke any childhood memories, reminding you of contemplating career path and keeping or setting aside your interests or hobbies? Am I accurately expressing your thoughts? Now I will read this poem aloud. and let's observe if anything changes. Ambition. All my friends have ambition. When they grow up, they want to be doctors, lawyers, scientists, and things like that. Some of them talk about nursing or teaching or being airline stewardesses or modeling or being a news reader or a foreign correspondent. I would like to work in a bakery, surrounded by loaves warm from the oven and hot yeasty smells in bread rising, and the sounds of the customers as they drop the new loaf into their shopping bags. My best friend, who wants to be a civil engineer, says, I have no ambition at all. What are your thoughts now? Did your initial perception shift after the second read? My reading tone suggests that the author actually emphasizes that being a baker is the ideal profession for the character in this poem, regardless of the society's perception of other jobs. The character finds fulfillment in his or her chosen path. It is important to recognize that our reading tone and approach shape our perspective. Through our exploration of this poem, we have witnessed the profound impact that our own perspectives and reading tones can have on the interpretation of poetry. Poetry has a remarkable ability to evoke different emotions, challenge stereotypes, and invite personal connections. By approaching poetry with an open mind, we can discover multiple layers of meaning and understanding and find resonance in unexpected places. Let us continue to embrace diverse perspectives it inspires. Now that we are inspired, let's delve into our first objective, reading habits. Each of us has unique reading habits that shape our perspectives and understanding of the written word. Our reading habits are influenced by various factors such as personal experiences, cultural backgrounds, education, and individual preferences. As a result, we interpret and comprehend text in different ways, leading to diverse perspectives and understandings. Additionally, our backgrounds and experiences also color our interpretations of what we read, we understand. Our culture, social, and personal contexts shape the lens through which we perceive and understand the text. A word or phrase may carry multiple connotations or evoke different emotions for different individuals. Our prior knowledge and exposure to certain influences, certain topics or experiences also influence how we connect with the content and form our interpretations. Now let's explore the second objective, analyzing text at different levels. Any text, be it poetic or any text, can be analyzed at three different levels: literal, inferential, and making connections. We will discuss each level and we will see how this text analysis can help students in their understanding. Our reading habits encompass a range of factors, including reading speed, comprehension strategies, and the extent to which we engage with the text. Some of us or our students may be fast readers, absorbing information quickly. Others may prefer a slow read. They're reading at their own pace, taking time to savor each word and delve into their meaning. Some may skim through the text, while others may meticulously analyze each and every word. So let's look at the first text analysis, that is the literal level of analyzing any text. The purpose of literal comprehension is very important. It is to understand the literal meaning of a text without interpreting or inferring beyond what is explicitly stated. It involves the reading of the text word by word and comprehending the surface level comprehension, the information what is conveyed in that text. It emphasizes the importance of not skipping any word, as each word contributes to the overall meaning of the text. It helps in building vocabulary, By reading every word and understanding its meaning in the context, students encounter new words, they expand their vocabulary, and it helps them to develop a stronger grasp of language and improves their overall reading comprehension skills. The next one is to answer questions. Literal comprehension forms the foundation for answering factual questions about the text. It enables students to identify specific details, events, or characters mentioned in that text and provide accurate responses based on the information which is given in that text. The third one is to build grammar. It also, this reading each word attentively enhances students' understanding of sentence structures, grammar rules, and syntax. It allows them to observe how words are used within a text or within a sentence and how they contribute to the overall grammatical structure. The next one is visualize. By reading every word and paying attention to descriptive details, student can visualize and create mental images of the text. This enhances comprehension and engagement with the material, making the reading experience more vivid and immersive. Last but not the least, we have got summarizing. Understanding the literal meaning of a text is essential to summarize its main points accurately. It enables students to, distill the key ideas and events, providing a concise overview of the text's content. Okay, now let's delve into another example. I would like here you to take a closer look at this poem on the beach and interpret its meaning. I'm going to read it to you. On the beach. Come away from the water, Jane. It's not very clean. Don't touch the seaweed, Jane. We don't know where it's been. You can paddle if you promise, Jane, not to splash about. And to keep your little red wellies on and wash when you come out. Come and sit on the blanket, Jane. But be careful where you tread. There's something nasty in the sand, so play with your doll instead. It's time for us to go, Jane. Have you had a nice play? We will come and visit the beach again if you're as good as you were today. What are your thoughts on what is the author trying to convey here? How did you arrive at this? What evidence supports your idea? These questions can help to develop interpretation skill. As we witnessed in the previous example, the way we read and our reading tone can lead to different interpretations or perspectives. Some of you may perceive the poet aiming to convey a message about a overprotective and strict mother who tightly controls her child's play and behavior on the beach. It seems like that child's freedom and she's restricting her child's freedom and exhibits controlling behavior. However, on the other hand, someone might believe that it is the mother's fundamental responsibility to teach her child basic life values and responsibility. It could be argued that the mother's action stem from her deep desire to ensure her child is safe at any cost. Both interpretations are valid and demonstrate the power of poetry to ignite imaginations within the classroom. Engaging in interpretation empowers students to think critically, stimulates creativity, and encourages them to delve into deeper understanding and explore diverse perspectives. Poetry, like all texts, offers multiple ways and levels of reading, analysis, and inference. Interpretation is a vital thinking skill that involves deciphering the meaning behind a text, image, or a graph, whatever you are analyzing. To help students develop and practice this skill, it is beneficial to engage them in activities that encourage them to articulate their interpretations. As students articulate their interpretations, they engage in a process of reflection, analysis, considering various perspectives and possibilities. Encouraging them to express the same idea in different ways further enhances their ability to think critically and expand their linguistic flexibility. At this point, I would like you to think deeply. What were your first thoughts when you were reading the poem Ambition or On the Beach? And what connections did you make that led to these thoughts or emotions that were evoked? Keep thinking. Okay, so let's now look at level two, inference. Inferential comprehension plays a crucial role in reading as it goes beyond the literal meaning of a text. And it involves making inferences based on the information provided. So, children engage in inferential comprehension to draw conclusions, make predictions, and fill in the gaps that are in the text that are not explicitly stated. It requires a reader to use their background knowledge, their context clues, logical thinking, reasoning to understand the deeper meaning of the text. It helps. It helps in learning the importance of quoting. In inferential comprehension, students learn the significance of quoting specific evidence from the text to support their inferences. And this skill helps them to develop their critical thinking and analytical abilities, which were required by students to cite relevant textual evidence to support their interpretations. It also helps them in understanding the author's purpose, perspective, and thinking. By making inferences, readers can grasp the deeper motives behind the text, whether it's the author's belief, social commentary, or emotional undertones. It promotes a deeper understanding of the author's message and fosters an appreciation of different writing styles and perspectives. It also helps students to analyze hidden meanings, stories, and descriptions. By analyzing the implicit details, student can unravel complex themes, symbols, and metaphors which add depth to their understanding. It encourages students to think beyond the words on the page and explore the complexities of human communication and appreciate the artistry of literature. The third level of analyzing text is making connections. Here, I will be talking in the context of poetry, particularly about poetry. It is an integral part of reading and analyze poetry as it allows reader to establish, links between the poem, their own experiences, and the broader world. It helps them, this making connection in poetry encourages readers to relate the poem to their own lives, emotions, and experiences. It promotes them to reflect on how the poem resonates with their personal journey or evokes specific emotions. Additionally, making connections with the broader world helps readers recognize the universal themes and timeless aspects of human existence which are described in that poetry. It also helps them in looking at the reflection of the society. Making connection in poetry prompts readers to reflect on how the poem reflects the society and culture in which it was written. By examining the historical, social, or political context of the poem, readers gain insights into the poet's observations and critiques of the world around them. This reflection helps readers develop a critical awareness of the society of the social forces that shape poetry and and the society. The next one is identifying issues. Making connections in poetry also empowers readers to identify social, ethical, or moral issues which are presented in that poem. Might be. It prompts them to question um, the poet's intentions, challenge assumptions, and critically analyze the poem's underlying message. This skill cultivates a sense of agency, enabling readers to engage in meaningful discussions and take informed actions on important issues prevailing in our society. Making connection in poetry empowers readers to critically examine the poet's perspective, question their intentions, and explore any biases or hidden meanings within the poem. By engaging in this process, readers delve a deeper understanding of the poet's message and enhance their critical thinking skills. Last, building a character. So, making connection in poetry aids in character development as readers relate and learn from the experiences, emotions, and growth depicted in that poem which they're analyzing. By emphasizing with the speaker or the characters in the poem, readers can gain insights into their own values, beliefs, and aspirations, promoting personal growth and self reflection that we have seen in the poem Ambition. Now that we have explored various aspects of analyzing, interpreting poems, it's time to take a moment to reflect on this journey. So, how would you approach poetry now? Any new thoughts? Or what is poetry to you now? Give it a give it a thought. Okay, now moving on to the next part. How would you integrate it with inquiry to make it authentic? I'm sure all the inquiry teachers must be waiting for this part of the session. Integrating poetry with inquiry based learning can offer a rich and authentic educational experience to students. It encourages them to explore and investigate topics through the lens of curiosity and inquiry. By combining the power of poetry with the principles of inquiry, students can deepen their understanding, engage in critical thinking, and develop their creative and expressive abilities. We will explore ways to integrate poetry seamlessly into different subjects such as math, science, and history to enhance learning and foster interdisciplinary connections. So let's rethink about the poem Ambition, integrating this poem into a discussion or lesson on identity and perspective. How does it sound? It allows students to reflect on their own ambitions and how they contribute to their sense of self. It encourages them to consider diverse perspectives, viewpoints, and understand the impact of ambition on personal growth and relationships. We will We could also look at any poem through the lens of TD themes, like how we express ourselves is the best one which can suit here, and or with key concepts or the related concepts like identity, culture, change, causation, connection, perspective, any whichever is going along with your unit. I incorporate, just to give you an example, so I incorporated the poem Ambition into our unit on messages under the theme How We Express Ourselves. It allowed students to explore the power of poetry in conveying ideas and emotions. Through this integration, students were able to reset their goals and experience the beauty of thinking beyond conventional boundaries. They discovered the limitless possibilities of self expression through poetic language and found joy in delving into deeper levels of understanding and creativity. Okay, let's imagine a math class where students are learning about geometric shapes and angles. You can introduce a poem that uses vivid imagery, like the poem we have here in a twist, which shows like a whirlpool. Descriptive language in the poem, in a twist, descriptive language in this poem, sorry, the vivid re image, like the poem here in a twist. Descriptive language in the poem, the beauty of shapes. That describes the beauty and symmetry of various shapes. By connecting the mathematical concepts with poetic language, students can delve a deeper appreciation for the subject and visualize the concepts in a more creative way. They can also explore the relationship between art and math, and maybe they can understand that both fields are can inspire and complement each other. Here we have another example of integrating poetry in history. These examples demonstrate that poetry can be seamlessly integrated into different subjects, going beyond the traditional boundaries of these disciplines. By incorporating poetry, teachers can create interdisciplinary connections that enrich the learning experience for students. By analyzing and discussing historical poems, especially here, students can gain insights into the thoughts, feelings, and experiences of the people living during that era. The poetic language and imagery can evoke empathy and help students relate to the human aspects of history. They can explore the power of poetry as a medium to express and reflect upon significant historical moments, fostering a deeper understanding and connections to the past. Okay, this is the best part. Like, I love this poem. Now, let's put our analytical skills to work. We are going to look at poems which are written completely different. We are going to analyze and discuss these poems which are very, very different. And also, we are going to look for literary devices, themes, and the emotions which are evoked through these poems. Take a moment and see. What do you think? Just look at this image. Can it be considered as a poem? Take a closer look and observe its details. Yes, it is a poem. It's a poem, Zoo Cage by Michael Rosen. If you examine closely, you will notice that the letters in the word zoo are incorporated into the lines of the image. And the words let me out written within the lines. They convey a powerful message from the animals expressing their desire to be free in nature. The poet, through this unconventional form of poetry, sends a message to the society, emphasizing that animals belong in their natural habitat and not confined in zoos. While this poem lacks traditional elements, poetic elements like rhyme, rhythm, or stanzas, but still conveys very effectively a strong message. It serves as a reminder that poetry can take various forms and still have a profound impact. Literary devices, if we talk about the literary devices here that can be conveyed through this poem, is the theme of captivity versus freedom. The image and words within the poem depict animals confined in a zoo longing to be released in the wild. It invites reader to reflect on the concept of freedom, both for animals and in a broader sense, and challenges societal norms regarding the confinement of living beings, not only animals in the zoo. Can you think of any unit or topic through which you can integrate this poem? Okay, let's look at another example. This poem is Literology. It offers a glimpse into the future world. This poem specifically explores the lifestyle and culture of people in the 20th century, like what we are right now, prompting us to contemplate the impact of extensive use of plastic and our um, eating habits, like, the eating junk food and fast food. It raises questions about the consequences of these choices on the appearance of our planet. This poem also invites reader to ponder what future generations might think when they discover the remnants of our plastic waste and eating habits. In terms of literary elements, in this poem, I could see symbolism, the presence of the word empty ring pull can symbolizes the prevalence of plastic consumption and waste in 20th century. It serves as a tangible representation of the impact of human actions on the environment. I can see rhyme and rhythm. It follows a consistent rhyme scheme and rhythm, enhancing its lyrical quality and making it memorable. This adds to the overall poetic effect and musicality of the poem. The theme conveyed through this poem revolves around environmental consciousness, human responsibility and their actions, and the potential consequences of the unsustainable habits and choices. This poem can be effectively integrated with the topic of environmental sustainability, impact of human actions on the planet under the theme Sharing the Planet. It provides an opportunity to discuss the consequences of excessive plastic usage, unhealthy eating habits, and you can also link them to broader issues like pollution, waste management, unhealthy choices, climate change. By examining the poem's theme and messages, students can engage in discussions about the importance of the responsible consumption, the need for sustainable practices, and the role individuals play in preserving the environment. This poem can also serve as a starting point or a provocation for topics like conservation, biodiversity, and the long term effect of human behavior on Earth's ecosystem. So, it's a beautiful example which you can use in your units if it can go well. Okay. Now, as we reach the final leg of the session, it is essential to remember that poetry is not just the collection of words on a page. It is a profound form of literature that has the power to make us think, feel, and wonder. When we treat poetry as a piece of literature, we open ourselves to a world of emotions, ideas, and interpretations. As I said, like it makes us think. So let's talk about thinking first. Poetry invites us to engage our critical thinking skills as we engage its language, structure, and themes. Poetry often presents complex ideas in a creative and imaginative ways, challenging us to think deeply and consider multiple perspectives. Now let's talk about feeling. Poetry has a unique ability to evoke a wide range of emotions within us. Through vivid imagery, rhythmic language, and emotional depth, it taps into our feelings and resonates with our own experiences and emotions. Poetry has the power to evoke joy, sadness, nostalgia, and other emotional responses. Now let's talk about wondering. Has this session happened to wonder someone till now? Poetry has the capacity to spark wonder and curiosity about the world around us. It can inspire to us to question, explore, and contemplate the complexities of life. Poetry also opens door to new perspectives and encourages us to explore the boundaries of our own understandings or perceptions. Poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. It takes its origin from emotion recollected in tranquility. This quote from William Wordsworth highlights the idea that poetry is born from intense emotions and experiences, which are then transformed into words and expressions of beauty. I hope you leave here today with an inspiration and a greater appreciation for poetry. Remember, by embracing poetry in your teaching practice, you have the ability to unlock the potential within you, your students, and cultivate a lifelong love for literature. Now, consider how you can incorporate poetry as a catalyst for inquiry in your teaching practice. How can you leverage the beauty of poetry to spark curiosity, encourage deeper understanding, questioning, promote authentic exploration of various subjects and themes? As we conclude our session on unlocking the power of poetry, I encourage you to embrace poetry as a valuable tool in your teaching practice. Let it be a source of inspiration, self expression for you and your students. Explore the possibilities of integrating poetry into your lessons and witness the transformative impact it can have in your classroom. Once again, thank you, and I wish you all the best on your journey to embrace poetry in your classrooms. Keep inspiring and empowering your students with the gift of poetic expression. I would like to also thank the YouTube channel for Teachers by Teachers for giving me this opportunity to express my thoughts and feelings about poetry, about teaching poetry in an inquiry classroom. Thank you so much.